Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today I'm in my sunny little fall corner with my real plants and I am enjoying the sunshine. It might fiddle with the lighting a little bit, but I was like, it's too beautiful to not share with everybody. Be adorable, my Darian. So this week's video is an open collaboration with Jessica from The Waldock Way and Abby from Rooted in Rest. And every month they share with us a topic that we can share with everybody. And I'm very, very excited. I have some notes here that I am going to look down and reference every once in a while just to keep myself on track. But this month's video is what we wish we knew when we started homeschooling. And this is something that I think every mom who has been a homeschooler for a few years can look back and go, oh man, I wish I knew this, that, or the other thing. And I don't like to dwell there very often, but it is really helpful sometimes. So I am a homeschool mom to an autistic boy who's 15. And he and his needs were the one thing that kind of pushed me into homeschooling. They were all in a brick and mortar school, and that school struggled to take care of his needs. And so it was literally, I call it, I was pushed off of the homeschool cliff by God, and he wanted me to do that for a reason, and I have been so thankful that he did. I'm thankful that I listened, that I didn't try and put him in another school. Yeah, there's so many things that happened. And then COVID land happened, and I took my girls home because they also were showing different things, but that they needed to be homeschooled as well. And so that really, again, I felt like I was not in a place where I was going into it necessarily because it was my idea, but because God was like, this is the charge that I've given to your life. And again, it's the most rewarding job, but it was not, I didn't come at it from a place of security. It was a place of, okay, we'll see what happens, sort of thing. And God, if I'm off of this cliff, you better catch me, sort of thing. And he totally did. But if I can share the things that happened to me and the lessons that I've learned, I would love it if you learned those lessons a lot faster than I did. So the first thing that I would say is, if God is calling you to homeschool, trust that he will walk with you. And what I mean by that is, sometimes when we've decided or God has laid that on our hearts, sometimes it can be like, okay, now I need to know all of the things, I need to figure out all of the things, I need to plan everything, I need to know which curriculum, and oh my goodness, which school board, and like there's so many things. It can be so overwhelming. And that's just if you have typically developing children, never mind if you have a special needs child and you're trying to figure it all out, right? And so I have really learned over the years of homeschool that God cares about even the little things, like, what curriculum should I pick, Lord? And so I've been really encouraging people on my channel to pray, especially when you're going, Lord, what do I do for next year? And in case you think that I'm coming from a place of, I have learned this lesson, I never struggle with this, allow me to assure you that I still very much do struggle with this. I am looking into what I'm going to be doing for high school, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what should I do? What should I pick? And you get sucked down the path of research and finding things, and then going, okay, I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting to go, Lord, you know what high school is going to look like. You know if there's even going to be colleges and universities in 5 years. There are already questions about whether or not that's even something that's worthwhile doing, because it's financially a burden and you might not get a job even if you do get a degree. So it's one of those things where I'm like overwhelmed, and I have to remember that the God of the universe knows the future. He knows my kids intimately, and he knows where they need to go, what they need to learn so that they can survive the coming years. So I really, really want to encourage you that there is nothing um, that you can't do with the help of God. And he wants to be a part of your homeschool. If he has called you to it, just like if he calls you to the ministry or being a missionary, he will walk you through those things. He is going to not go, I'm going to call you into homeschooling and you're on your own. So I just pray that for you, that you will feel, I just pray that you will feel that in your heart and in your mind, and put it on someplace by your computer, maybe on your fridge, somewhere where you are like, I will remember this when I'm starting to get overwhelmed, and I will remember that God knows my children's future and he will not lead me astray. And yeah, with special needs, especially, it's, Lord, what do you want me to teach my son? And I spent so many years doing what I knew to be true for my school experience instead of what my son actually needed. So yeah, he is the best educational assistant or mentor that you could possibly have. And I just really hope that that's something that you can take to heart every time you walk into your homeschool space, every time you start planning for the next year. It will be something that is so evident you can't not remember that. So that's my prayer for you. Number 2, the public system or the school system is not infallible. And so don't try to replicate that. And I think you're going to hear this over and over and over again. But for us who knew nothing else but the brick and mortar school, because that was our experience, it is so hard to rewrite. It is so hard to rewrite that, I don't know, the breadth of knowledge that you have gained from being in school. That's the only school experience that you know. And so I don't say this as somebody who got it right the first time or even the 10th time. This is just when you have just this narrow view of what school can look like, and then you go off the path, then you suddenly are like, what if I'm missing something? What if I'm not doing it right? And there's so much that is built up because the buck stops with us as homeschool parents now, where we're like, oh yeah, no, this is I'm it. There's not a school system that is responsible for this, just me. And so again, that leads to number 1, where you go, I have the best helper and mentor I could possibly have. And then number 2, it's okay. I think we all have heard stories, lived stories, and understand that the homeschool or the school system is not perfect. They have let people down, but it's still so hard to rewrite that. Peeking. It's so hard to rewrite that sometimes in our brains. And so my advice, the number 3, is it's okay if there's a process to you figuring it out. Again, this is something that I've had to give myself grace on, because there's so many times, especially with my son and his special needs, that I was coming from a place of, this is all I know. All I know is the school system. So I have to do math, and I have to do language arts, and I have to do history, and I have to do science, and I have to do all of these things. And it took me a couple of years because I was just burning out, and it wasn't working for my son, it wasn't working for me, but it was all I knew. And so there was this huge need and desire to do what I knew. And so I've had to accept and give myself grace, knowing that I needed to kind of be unbrainwashed or I had to learn that it was acceptable to be different and change the only system that I knew to fit and work for my son and for my daughters. So at the end of the day, I hope that this is an encouraging video, that you hear my heart behind it. If you are even a couple of steps ahead of me, you will enjoy homeschooling a lot faster and feel it become more fulfilling as a job. We still have a lot of tough days, a lot of just exhaustion because there's only one of me, and I often wish that there was two, one for my son and one for my daughters. But like, there's so many times, I just said like, oh my goodness. There is so many times where I have to remember that God is sovereign again, that He knows me, He called me to this job, and He will not allow me to falter if I am prayerfully staying in His sphere of influence, whether that's reading the Bible, whether that's praying over every decision that I make, talking with my husband and getting his perspective and point of view, because he has also been called to this homeschool life. So thank you to Jessica and Abby for this open collaboration. Linked down below will be the playlist where there's going to be lots of other mamas who are sharing about their homeschool, what they wish they had known. Thank you so much. I hope that the lighting wasn't too bad and that you were able to enjoy the beautiful fall weather and my plants. And this is like my favorite corner of the house, and so I thought, you know what, I might just change it up a little bit for fun. So have a wonderful homeschool week, and one adorable homeschool week, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.